detective. Thrill me.
Thanks for joining us. Our New Year's episode. We're going to be doing Assault on Precinct 13. People may be asking why Assault on Precinct 13. Because not many... This movie, I mean, honestly, when I did a bit of research, it basically came and went like that. Disappeared.
Yep.
Even with the high-profile cast that it has.
Mm-hmm. And a little bit of the kind of... the remake of a John Carpenter movie.
And at that stage they were remaking everything of his at that point. It's because it's set on New Year's Eve. Basically is why I've chosen it.
Stronger rationale than some of our choices.
Yeah, true. Gibbo has ripped our choices many times. We've had less sense in the past.
At least we think this one.
Now, before we get into it, we're not going to do an up or down. I just wanted to have a quick look at the hits and flops of 2018. Basically, the hits, let's have a quick look at it. The Avengers made $2 billion worldwide. No brainer. Yeah, it was always going to be probably the biggest movie of the year. Black Panther made a very tidy $1.3 billion. Mm-hmm. So it's really good to see that one sort of break out.
You see that, eh?
No, I haven't seen that. I've heard nothing but good things.
You'll check it out.
Jurassic World, $1.3 billion.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, I'm still baffled by the Jurassic Park franchise continuing to be successul, but they've obviously
there's an argument to say that there's one good movie in the entire...
Yeah, and it's the first one.
I didn't hate Jurassic World, but not the second one.
Well, The Fallen Kingdom was rubbish. Wasn't it? Incredibles 2 made $1.2 billion.
Good.
Fair enough.
Good
film. Venom, $854 million for Venom.
I know. I haven't seen it yet, but I am basically missed it at the cinema now, so I'm hanging for it to come to
see what it's all about.
And I'm going to dive right in. I cannot wait.
Mission Impossible Fallout, $791 million.
Yep.
We also talked about Meg Money.
Meg Money is
$590 million. Jesus Christ. Honestly. A Quiet Place, $340 million on a $17 million budget.
Mm-hmm. That was a good one.
Crazy Rich Asians made $238 on 30.
Mm-hmm.
Halloween made $253 on 10.
That's probably got to be the best dollar to profit ratio.
Now the flops. Solo, $250 million budget.
Yeah.
And they made $390. So you got to be thinking that they would have put $100 million in marketing, probably more.
And look, I've already said I didn't mind the movie so much. It had some enjoyable stuff about it. It was just kind of dumb fun in a lot of senses. But you got to question the choices of, this didn't seem to be something that people were crying out for. And then you spend that much money on it. Yeah. And then you sack the directors and go for reshoots when you've already spent a package.
This is a question I asked. How much money was added when they sacked Lord and Miller and replaced them with Ron Howard? I reckon you're talking 50 plus.
And honestly, why are you making that choice? Like, I think it was Lord that was just involved in basically wrote the screenplay for Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Like, the guy is just hit after hit.
Yeah.
But you sacked the two of them before they got the chance to finish this one. Like,
the simple fact of the matter is, why weren't you... If Ron Howard was selected after the fact, right, and because you wanted his type of style, then why didn't you select him in the first place?
Yeah.
Why did you bother to go to Lord and Miller in the first place? You knew...
I do not know.
This is what... I've got concerns about Disney's... the way... Not necessarily the way they're handling it, because it's in the right place.
Yeah.
They are in the right place. I've got concerns about
too much about how they were handling it, given how Lucas was handling
Yeah, exactly. But
prequels.
My concern is that they a little bit of fatigue.
Yeah.
My hope is that they've realised, let's pull back.
Yeah.
For a bit.
Possibly
and let
too much.
Things, die down a bit.
Yeah, what's wrong with one every 2 years?
Yeah, because you had Force Awakens, Rogue One, Last Jedi, and Solo all in. What?
Solo was only 6 months after after Last Jedi.
Yeah. So you were just in this. It was over a 2 to 3 year period. You banged out 4 films, and I think it's just it has to slow down for a little bit. Robin Hood, 72 million box office on $100 million. Holy shit.
Goodness me.
Yeah, look. Look. Throw in 50 plus for marketing and you're in big trouble.
As I said to you earlier, though, who says I've got a great idea? I just saw King Arthur. We should make Robin Hood in that style. It's an absolute no-brainer.
We could do it for 20 million. No. We're gonna do it for 100. Like a movie like that is 20 to 40 million. So if you can crank out a Quiet Place on 17 and Halloween on 10, you can do a Robin Hood movie for less than 50.
And what are you paying Jamie Foxx these days?
I don't know. I mean, maybe he's cashing checks. I don't know.
Look, for that role, I'm looking for scale. I'm looking at scale. I want a young, hungry, up-and-comer.
I want a...
well, maybe not. It doesn't even have to be young. It's got to be...
I want to take gigs.
What's my chestnut money?
I want a Diggs money or a chestnut. I'll even just go as far as... oh, God, I can't remember his name now at the top of my head, but he's below both of those guys.
Not Julius from Friday Part 8.
No, he's working for scale, mate. He's working for scale.
No, I just think, like, I don't know, Jamie Foxx to me is just, in this type of movie, I think he's the kind of guy that rocks up to set and realises what this is. So once he realises it, he's just dropping a loaf on set and walking away.
You know what, though? You know what? Robin Hood has not made money since Costner's mullet. It's true. Kevin Costner was at the peak of his powers. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves is a turd. Yeah. If you watch that again, it's average. It's made better by Alan Rickman acting like a twat. But it's not a great movie.
No.
It's just that Costner was at the peak of his powers.
Yeah.
And that stuff, he could have sold fucking, ice to the Eskimos at that point. You know, it's just the way it was.
Here's a question for you too. Where's Taron Egerton end up if Rocket Man sucks?
Well, my thinking is he could be in a bit of strife because Kingsman was a hit. The sequel, not so much.
Not so much. This.
Eddie the Eagle, this. Rocket Man might work because Bohemian Rhapsody was a hit and it'll come after that.
But it hasn't been well received.
Yeah.
Rami Malek's been well received, but the rest of it's just...
it was badly received, but what I'm saying is maybe because it's a biopic...
Dollars, you think the dollars will keep him afloat?
Maybe, but I don't know, mate. Honestly, again, I'm with you. We've been trying to make King Arthur and fucking Robin Hood movies since the end of time, and we haven't made a decent picture in about 40 years.
Oh, yeah, you look at
the track record.
You look at a property that's been made 17 times for a return of what? 1 or 2 good movies.
At the moment someone walks into my office as a producer and says, "Look, I've got this idea for Robin Hood. Get the fuck out of here."
Yeah, I'm not the type of person that says 17 people have done this and fucked it up, but I'm the man to get it right. I say...
I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll make it hip.
I say this has beaten better men than I. What about is there any comic book movies available that haven't been made yet? I'd like to do one of those.
Have you got a superhero property that can't miss? Anything? I mean, honestly... someone would have said to me, but Kevin Costner made a good one. You're right. You're spot on.
Look, Costner can't be touched. Sorry, what else have we got?
And you know what? Costner spent $50 million to make Prince of Thieves.
I thought you were going to say he spent $50 million on his hair.
But back then he had a glorious mullet, mate. He didn't need CGI.
It just did it on its own.
A Wrinkle in Time, $132 million box office on $100+ million budget.
Good
and was
Lord.
supposed to be kind of like a really well-known book property. Is that not correct?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know anything about it, but
No, neither did I.
I don't know. Shit from clay.
Yeah, I can't read. So. I believe it's
yeah. When it comes to reading books, X marks the spot. Okay, and then Nutcracker and Four Realms. $161 million on a $128 million budget. I mean, Disney, for all its awesome stuff, has taken some stuff up the arse, hasn't it?
Yeah, no, let's look. Robin Hood and King Arthur, they don't work, but the Nutcracker, that's due for a refurb. The kids will love it.
It's so funny, isn't it? Looking at it, that a heap of the hits are Disney related, and then a heap of the flops are also Disney related, but they can afford. They can throw money around because they got so much of it. Like, they crossed the $7 billion threshold.
Yeah.
They've done it twice in the last 3 years.
You reckon, they reckon they're on track with Aladdin to get another one there? Given the look of Will Smith?
No. Look,
Aquaman,
I believe
this nod to Aquaman, although it's not going to be in this year's. It's absolutely carved it up in China.
It's already done well.
It's made 250 plus before even opening in the US.
Yeah. So it's done well, but I mean, it's a no-brainer. It's going to make good money. As far as Aladdin's concerned, I've got nothing against making live-action ones of their classic animated films. No. They've done it with Beauty and the Beast. They're going to do it with Lion King.
Jungle Book worked
well. The problem you've got with Aladdin was that I think it was the first time they'd had like a major name do a key role, and he did such a great job as the genie, Robin Williams. It's going to be so hard to forget, and the fact that he's passed is another addition to that, adding to this legendary status of the man. And I worry that it's not going to work. I'm not knocking Will Smith because I feel like I still like Will Smith as an actor, and I feel who knows, he might be able to do something.
No,
but it doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like it to me. And I believe the costume and everything and the look of him was met with giggles.
Certainly met with giggles from me. They've had to rush out and say, no, look, he's going to be blue for most of it. Okay. I don't care.
All right.
He's just going to look like a blue idiot.
All right, let's take a break. Here's the trailer to 2005's Assault on Precinct 13.
Does anybody work around here anymore?
It was the night Precinct 13 was supposed to close its doors forever.
No offense, officer, but we're closing down. We're short-staffed.
Central said we park here overnight until the road's clear.
Until Detroit's most lethal prisoners changed everything.
I'm responsible for everybody in here. That's my job.
I assume you know who I am, Sergeant.
You're a gangster.
That's accurate.
He's a cop killer.
Who the hell are you?
What the hell's going on?
They're surrounding the place.
The phones aren't working.
I found this out there.
Why are cops coming to kill us?
One of my partners in crime is your fellow officer, Marcus Duval. If I make it to court, his whole team goes to jail. They can't allow me to leave this precinct alive.
They can't allow any of us to live here alive.
This winter,
All right, choose a weapon. Anything you see.
the only thing more dangerous than the criminals on the inside
Come on, baby.
What, are you gonna trust these freaks? They need us as much as we need them.
are the cops. On the outside,
When this is over, you're going back to jail.
This ain't about me and you. Not yet.
We gotta put them all down. Without pause. Without regard.
from the producer of Training Day, Ethan Hawke, Lawrence Fishburne, John Leguizamo, Ja Rule, Drea Di Matteo.
We all gotta start trusting each other right now if we're gonna make it through this night.
13.
Assault on Precinct 13 from 2005, directed by Jean-Francois Richet. He made mostly foreign films. The Emperor of Paris is one of them.
I don't know you on not butchering the name. Well done.
Well, yeah, I have. At the end of the year and into the new year. I'm going to butcher a few more, though. It was produced by Pascal Catchut. Yeah, there you go.
Pascal C, I believe.
I think he's just known as Pascal. Jeffrey Silver and Stephanie Sperry. It's written by James DeMonico, who did The Purge. I didn't realise.
Yeah, he did a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Actually, I think he's written at least 3 out of the 4.
Yeah.
And had something to do with the TV show.
And obviously from the original film by John Carpenter. It stars Ethan Hawke as Sergeant Jake Ronick, Lawrence Fishburne as Marion Bishop, Gabriel Byrne as Captain Marcus Duval, and Maria Bello as Dr. Alex Sabian. The budget was $20 million, and the box office was $35 million worldwide. Mark Wahlberg was actually originally offered the role of Ronick, but turned it down.
Had to make the happening, or
yeah, I think he's in the middle. He's on pre-production, post-production of the happening. Freaking shit. He just watched the rough cut, but oh shit. I need a guaranteed hit. Assault on Precinct 13. No thanks. Okay. I generally think this is a solid, yet kind of unspectacular action movie. It doesn't kind of have those key set pieces. It has a bit of trouble breaking out of the generic action sort of beats. Even though the idea is good and the cast is great. I think the cast is excellent. I give it 2.5 out of 5. It's passable. I think with a lesser cast it wouldn't have been as good because I think the cast does a hell of a job to drag some of the shittier parts up a notch.
Yep.
2.5 though.
2.5. I went to a 3. Look, it's a really sound idea. I know it's got inspirations from Rio Bravo, I believe is what John Carpenter was sort of going for. There's some issues with that, like changing the setting and the time period. There's some things I've got some very big dislikes on to do with the setting, but the idea is super sound of the good guys and the bad guys just having to bond together, or they're going to be screwed, basically. So I like that. It cast of really solid actors, but as you said, like it's enjoyable enough when you're in it, but then it's just once you turn it off, it's very forgettable. There's not really any really memorable characters, really memorable scenes. Everything's just okay.
Yeah,
it just does the job for a little bit, and then you just kind of forget it.
Well,
I essentially watched it with fresh eyes. I could not remember any of it.
Yeah, I remember seeing it in cinemas.
Yeah, I did too, and I didn't. I remember that I had seen it. I didn't.
I remember being in a cinema and it was on. That's about
allegedly.
But I remember it being better.
No, I never. I remember it being all right.
And then when I sat down and watched it today, I started picking at it, and once you pick at it a little bit, it's like you pull a thread and it just comes undone. And
you pull a thread and poof,
you haven't got a sweater. 1 minute you had a sweater, the next minute you just got a pile of bloody wool.
Yeah,
but the fact is, it never kind of gets like there are characters that are just superfluous. There are ridiculous things that these crew of highly trained cops can't seem to get the fucking job done.
They couldn't get in the door.
It's hard to stomach.
Yeah. I think because it's not one of Carpenter's better movies. I remember seeing the original, and it's not one of his better movies. But this one probably didn't even match that. It's just
it just needed tightening, because to me they could have worked it out better.
Did they overcomplicate a simple idea?
Possibly
in some ways.
Possibly, and I'll get to that later because there's a couple of things that happened where I was just like. Oh my God, why are we doing this? But the film does open strong.
You didn't get a better fitting sweater. Yeah. Not leave any loose threads.
You have missed a number. The film does actually open strong. The undercover operation showcases that he's a highly skilled cop because he's in undercover work.
Yeah.
He gets 2 of his fellow officers killed or injured.
And Ethan Hawke is really good. He comes across as a real scumbag.
Yeah, because he's rambling on, talking about this is the ship. We're on the highway together. And then he belts the bloke and all that sort of stuff. And it shows that it feeds his PTSD or whatever he's got.
Mm.
And that's the reason why where he is in 8 months' time. Yep. You know, so it does a decent job to set that up.
Mm-hmm.
Really good cast. Really good cast. Top to Hawke, Fishburne, Gabriel Byrne, Maria Bello are your mains. Then you got guys like Brian Dennehy, John Leguizamo. You can go a little bit lower with that guy Matt Craven, the guy who plays the cop that comes back.
Yep.
Ja Rule. I didn't think I'd ever say this, and I thought you were taking the piss earlier on today when you said Ja Rule delivers a solid performance. No, I get that. Get out of here.
I nearly couldn't write it. I nearly couldn't get my fingers to... But he actually was okay.
He was good, yeah. I thought he, in a small role, he worked well.
Look, Buster Rule, Ja Rhymes, head to head. Ja Rule, Buster Rhymes, head to head.
Rule gets the job done.
Rule gets the job done as an actor. Yeah. He's not sitting there in his prison cell going, oh, yeah, kind of talking to himself. I actually thought it was funny that he was talking in the third person.
Yeah.
Smiley's not liking this.
Who's Smiley? Is Smiley there?
I thought he was all right.
I actually found both Fishburne and Gabriel Byrne to be really good in that sort of villainous... Because they never overplayed it.
See, Gabriel Byrne, I thought he was very good. I've got a major dislike around him, but he was very, very good.
Yeah, they never overplay things.
No.
Like, they're not frothing at the mouth or carrying on.
Yeah.
And they actually do a nice touch where Gabriel Byrne is in the car with the other bloke, and he basically says, as soon as we get out of this car, we have to kill them all. All of them. And can you live with that? And he says, I can live with it. I can live with that better than living in a prison cell.
Yeah. That was very good. The cast, even, going down to people like Dre Di Matteo. She's a good actress. The other dude from Sons of Anarchy who plays the cop on the bus.
Yes.
That's getting him, Ken Coates, I think his name is.
Who gets his nose put into his skull in The Last Boy Scout.
Yes. Yeah, he's actually a very, very good actor.
He's a very good actor.
And, you're filling those small parts with really quality guys.
Agreed. And that's a really good way to go in a movie like this. I really like the speech Bishop gives in the church.
Yeah.
Where he says to the bloke, I've seen so many men stare death in the face and they always ask for God's forgiveness. And after seeing so many of them, their prayers go unanswered, I lost my faith.
Yeah. I thought that was a really good little way to set up the guy.
Yeah, and look...
Even just sitting in church, conducting the meeting in church, says a bit about the character, and what he thinks of himself, even, that he's fucking just flouting God, basically.
And people could argue that Fishburne's phones it in and whatever, but all it required was his sort of cool and that sort of screen presence he brings.
Well, his kind of non-responsiveness to some of the other people, and he's just calm in the whole situation. Basically, is kind of what you wanted.
Like when Leguizamo tells that joke, and he just gives him the punchline and just ends the cops. He's like,
Leguizamo's there going,
you cracked me up.
He actually, we didn't even mention him.
He's pretty good.
He was hilarious at times, and the way he's constantly crapping on about rights and all this sort of stuff. One of the funniest parts I thought was when he was. It might have even been. I don't know whether it was when he was telling the joke, but it was in the same part where they're in the cell. And he's sitting there on the crapper, trying to continue the conversation. He's sitting there rocking back and forth on the toilet,
and he keeps going, bish. It's like he's just ignoring him full on. He continues to try and engage him. He also rolls out one of my favourite lines: "Officer balls and officer cock."
Yeah. I believe I said it was crackling wit early on. You said suggested probably not. Maybe, maybe lightly sizzling wit.
Look, it was a minute steak.
Yeah, a simmering wit.
I got a giggle out of that.
Seared.
Yeah, like it was a seared ducks to Peter sort of like.
Yeah, I thought it was. That was a good laugh actually.
I got a good laugh out of that. Once the siege does start to go down, it ramps up a little bit when they make their first attempt to breach. But I also love the scene where you just see all the sniper rifle. Lights go.
I mean, it possibly took a little bit long to get to the crooks and the cops together because that's the strength of it. That's where the drama comes in because you've got them all there and you can spend minutes on end in there with them and the uneasy tension. Yeah, all you had to do was throw one little thing that happened or throw the cop back into the precinct and have the crooks all going, this is bullshit, he's with them. Yeah. And the cops say, no, I vouch for him. And the uneasiness continues to kind of...
Yeah, it builds. And in fact, it did take a little bit too long. And I think it's because they made some errors later with regards to... And I've got a dislike to the fact that they've always got to be damaged.
Yeah.
Like, why can't he just be a cop packing up the precinct and suddenly they're in the shit?
I really liked Ethan Hawke's character. Yeah. I really liked him in the role. Like, I don't look at this movie and say there's so many people that could have done a better job than Ethan Hawke. I thought Ethan Hawke was pretty much perfect for that sort of stuff. But the idea is so strong on its own for an action flick that we maybe didn't need to go that route or as deeply into it.
Yeah. I mean, I'll get to it a little bit later, but because to me, his character feels like another action hero that we know.
Yeah, so it's like I was saying, that's not really where all the drama's coming from.
No.
The drama is coming from the cops and the crooks are working together and they don't trust each other.
Exactly. And once the breaching the precinct starts happening, you're not sure how things are going to pan out because you've got these three groups. You've got the bad guys on the outside, you've got the crims in lockup, and you've got the small band of cops and civilians.
Yeah. But then they twist it anyway, and it's the bad guys on the outside of the cops anyway.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty strong in that sense as it is.
Yeah. Bishop using Molotov cocktails, rock solid. Very badass type of move.
Yeah.
And then I love the way he picks the secretary girl up.
Yeah.
And you see another one of them come behind him, and then Ethan Hawke just walks out and goes, and just fucking blows his head off. Like, those things were cool because it was all happening at speed, you know? Like, things were just kind of, people were just coming out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
And I really liked the way that was done. And I just felt that, you feel that tension when the sniper rifles are coming through. Like, you can just see the red dot going through, and like, you know, people are under the pressure.
Yeah.
So I thought those things worked really well. I think the banter between Hawke and Fishburne is its strength, is the film's strength.
Yeah, well, some of the dialogue exchanges are really good between a lot of people, like Ethan Hawke and a number of them. Even with Brian Dennehy, who I wasn't a massive fan of his performance, but there was a couple of exchanges with those two that were really good. Him and Maria Bello were really good. John Leguizamo, again, with a few people on the way into the bus before the officer cock and officer balls, like the stuff that, you know, Kim Coates is berating him about his eyes and what you been on, and Leguizamo's hitting him with, oh, your
eyes are glazed, you been done
it. There was some really good stuff between a lot of the actors, you know, a lot of the characters weren't necessarily hugely fleshed out.
No.
But those back and forwards was so entertaining that you got a sense of who Leguizamo was through all that shit he was crapping on with, you know. You could imagine him, who he was in the crew, the annoying fucking chatterbox, like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I really liked a lot of that
This is the
stuff.
strength of hiring a good cast.
Yep.
Is that you can let them improvise, you can let them have a bit of back and forth, and they can play with it a little bit.
And when you need to strengthen your cast, you hire the Ja Rules and you hire...
Exactly. He's top of the list. But you squeeze every single bit out of it when you get these people. In all the roles. You don't
we're
just
probably smart enough to realise we don't have space for all of these characters. We just have to have like a certain number of people inside the precinct, a few people as plot devices down the stretch to get us from here to here, a few people to just, kind of off and raise the stakes. And I think they've realised that some of these people we can't flesh him out, but we can give him a couple of minutes
or two
to go back and forth and kind of really set the tone for us.
The last one for me was, I actually liked the finale amongst the trees, because they add that
question marks again, but yes.
Look, it wasn't a dense forest, I'll say that much.
The setting looked pretty cool. The
and
snow.
You add the layer of tension with them having night vision and Hawk and Fishburne not.
Yeah, I thought that was a nice crafty little way to finish.
Yeah. But anything else that you dug?
Yeah, I mentioned,
Ja Rule.
Of course, I was going to go into him at length, but obviously, you've pointed out how good he was already. The stuff about, I mentioned how the cop comes back into the precinct. I really dug those little moves that they were putting into to a little bit of misdirection, a little bit of we don't really know either way, but it's really good to have the criminals and the cops going back and forth on no, this is how it is. No, we don't trust you. Like that's where you got some of the drama from. I actually thought Maria Bello's death it's one of the few things in these action movies. Sometimes they just do it because they feel like they have to. But this one was one that actually did kind of ramp the stakes up a little bit for me. Like it had a lot of impact. I felt. I didn't think it was. I
felt it too.
I didn't think it was going to get there. I think
that it was well done to do it like that. My only problem was that she kind of the character didn't quite have anything much to offer. Like
it made her.
If you'd have cut her out entirely, it may not have affected things that greatly.
Look, it reduced her a little bit to something that Ethan Hawke had to kind of attain.
I got this feeling that they had sort of set up a romance type of element.
They did.
But never sort of followed it.
So what they did is, so what it did is it served to sting Ethan Hawke's character and make us feel for him, which kind of sucks for the female role in the movie. But pushing that aside and me looking at her as a character that I'd started to feel that I liked, it did sting a bit when that happened.
Like, don't get me wrong.
I get what you're saying. It kind of reduced her a little bit, which does suck. Because you got someone like Dre DiMatteo who survived the movie and kicked a bit of ass when she needed to.
Whereas I could have seen her death having a similar effect.
Yeah.
Because they'd done a little bit more to flesh her out. She had closer connections with Hawke and several of the others.
Yeah. But kind of stood on her own. She didn't serve as a piece for Ethan Hawke's character to get, to as motivation for him.
Yeah. But I did think it was cold too. It was cold-blooded, the way he sort of...
Yeah, definitely.
Just shot her right there.
Yep.
Anything else?
I think that was pretty much it. Other than, you mentioned the setting of it in the kind of city block police office. I actually, for some reason, I kind of liked that it was snowing.
Yes.
Just seemed to heighten the isolation and
added the atmosphere to it.
The snowstorm bit, the way that it cut them off a little bit.
Yeah.
But it did kind of look cool.
Yeah.
And it made it difficult for them to see the guys outside.
Added another layer, mate.
Yeah.
Like another layer to add an increasingly difficult situation more difficult.
Yep.
And I liked it. I really thought that added a nice touch.
Yep.
Okay, the dislikes.
Couple of very big ones.
Oh, huge. First, the camera work at times is fucking vomit-inducing.
Yeah.
It's all over the shop, mate. Like,
Jimmy
Francois Rochelle, he's a French auteur or whatever, but quite frankly, there's one scene in particular where he fights the guy on the bus.
Yep.
I mean, shit's shaking around all over the joint.
Yeah.
And he does the old icicle, the Die Hard icicle one in the eye. I didn't even see him pull the icicle.
Yeah.
Because the camera's going...
shaking around a bit.
It's like it's in a washing machine or something. Jesus, mate.
Yeah, I actually didn't think it was badly directed, but I did definitely see a couple of times.
In the early undercover raid, he's running down the hallway and
Yep. Shaking.
like, you know how they back then in the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, they thought things will be super frantic if we attach a camera to a bloke and it runs.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's not frantic. It's stupid.
I'm not frantic because I can't see it.
Yeah. Like,
I agree.
It was kind of I think it was the style at that time.
Yeah, definitely. But it's certainly, I mean, we've spoken a bunch of times about our preference for actually seeing things that are on the screen. I don't mind the Welsh.
I have a preference to see what is on screen.
Yeah, when I'm looking at visual medium, I prefer to see.
If it was radio, fine.
Yeah, shake the microphone around a bit. I don't give a shit.
We've been doing it for fucking 3 years.
Yeah, but it's the guerrilla style that we kind of work with, mate. We just chuck any old
Guerrilla
microphone.
style. 1 week you hear the microphone change, the next week it sounds like we're fucking recording in a wind tunnel. Brilliant.
Adds to the charm. It's the style. It's the aesthetic.
Stylistic choices. Sounds like a 70s grindhouse podcast.
Exactly.
Alright, look, another dislike. Dennehy's lip weasel. His fucking mustache is a disgrace to mustaches. He shouldn't be allowed to grow one like that. He has grown far better mows in his career. If I remember correctly, he was in Silverado, wasn't he?
Look, I'm
had
not
one of those gigantic caterpillar style ones.
Look, you know, I don't want to put you on the spot here, but it looks a little bit like your dad's.
Yeah, it's got
a little bit greyer. But, you know, your dad hasn't had one in a while. But...
No, my dad's cracking one right now.
Oh, well, there you go. I believe he calls it the Dennehy.
Yeah, Dennehy circa 2005. Oh, it's absolutely disgusting. He should be ashamed of himself. Maybe that's what impinged on his performance.
Are you taking the Liam Gallagher out here? The fucking mustaches cannot be fucking tolerated.
Right, Gallagher was spot on. When you see Dennehy, you know what he was talking about. Cannot be tolerated. Yeah, you can understand a beard, but you
can't. That is a choice to do that.
Speaking of Dennehy, I love the bloke, but he is awful in this.
He's shit.
Awful.
Yeah.
He is just given this one-dimensional, one-note role of the cranky.
He's annoying. He's annoying from the
ass.
start, but I'll tell you what's worse is he gives away his role in the film entirely. Immediately.
Yeah. He's such a gruff prick.
Yeah, he's so gruff and he's constantly suggesting things to do, but he's doing it in such a manner and then he's getting all riled up when it doesn't happen his way. The whole time I was thinking...
The problem is...
He's in on it.
They should have thrown you they should have lied to us. And he should have got help from one of the crims and then kind of, thanks for helping me out.
There was never any swerve with Dennehy.
Yeah.
It was clear.
He was straight down.
It was clear.
He was straight
Maybe
through
it was the fucking
wall,
mustache. I just didn't trust a bloke with a mustache like that. Where'd you get that mustache? Yeah, I used to be French.
He's terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, gone are the days of Sheriff Will Teasel. He's just acting like an ass.
Well, that was the problem. He still was Sheriff Will Teasel. So we knew from the get-go, you're just a prick and you're not on the level here, Brian.
Just to throw my 2 cents worth about that little double cross, because he had double cross written all over him.
Yes.
I think his
I think his name was Sergeant Cross. Sergeant Double Cross.
Yeah, they tried to hide it by calling him Cross.
No, they did something stupid, like they called him Sergeant Juice Cross or something.
They called him Chris Cross. Oh, shit. Chris Cross the second. That's his name. Just to come back to that, he had basically double cross written on his uniform, and it was really silly. You know what I would have done? Just to go into rewrite territory, I would have had the double cross done by one of the Crims. Leguizamo or Ja Rule, preferably Ja Rule, he could have pulled it off.
Yeah.
They wanted to make a deal to let me loose.
Yeah.
Let me out of here.
Or they could have, the cops that were doing it were already working with Crims, so they could have been working with another branch.
Because Ja Rule and Leguizamo...
Maybe they were working with Officer Bait and Switch. Yeah. I just spoke to Officer Switch. I can't deal with him.
I can't deal with Switch. I'm still awaiting confirmation from Bait about what we're going to do. But what I mean is Leguizamo and Ja Rule legged it to try and get away anyway.
Yeah.
So wouldn't it be more interesting that one of them got word to the cops outside, I'm willing to let you in if you let us go?
Yeah, well, even if it didn't, play as a bigger... It could have been something to advance the plot a little bit, like to get him out of the cells quicker or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, I could have seen that working a little bit because Dennehy just didn't.
He's
on any level. Fashion.
Facial hair. Just all around.
His ability as an actor in this particular movie.
This is a very minor issue, but the stealing his psychologist file.
Yeah.
It was kind of silly. I felt that they could have probably delved into that when they first met, when you saw them having the psychologist's actual session together.
Yeah.
Could have delved into some of the issues.
Because she didn't even end up coming back for
the reason, yeah.
They just spoke about it, but it was like...
initially, after he'd taken it and then she came back, I thought, oh yeah, that's right. That's why the file was taken. Nah, my car broke down. Oh, fuck. Well, why bother having this? It kind of just felt unnecessary. Yeah,
a little bit. Going back to Dennehy and the double cross.
Still harping on Dennehy's lack of ability.
It's kind of the same thing, but Gabriel Byrne, you knew he was the bad guy from the get-go too.
Yeah.
The second he appeared on screen and marched out of the office with a fucking scowl on his face, I'm like...
Yeah, he's...
okay. It wasn't so bad with him because it was revealed very early on what was happening.
Yeah.
But Dennehy was just... It was egregious in Dennehy's case. But yeah, it was the same...
egregious as his mustache, I can tell you.
It was the same. And the thing is, as you mentioned, they're both very good actors.
Yeah.
Gabriel Byrne could have played off a scene of him... If it was a little... Played a little more subtly, he could have put a scene in there of him as an officer and not just immediately looked at him and gone, oh... That bloody shady looking prick.
I think the problem with those things is casting a big name or a reasonably big name that we know.
Yeah, well, you know
it always sort of plays.
But I guess with something
sometimes
like
plays
this,
poorly.
The way that it comes in is Gabriel Byrne is shown in a scene completely unrelated to
Ethan Hawke or any of those.
And he's marching out of an office scowling, surrounded by a bunch of large, thuggish looking other officers.
The best way to bring it in would have been to have him and his crew turn up at Precinct 13 earlier on and say, because they're doing, picking up some gear or some bullshit like that.
Something to, play them off as a little bit. I know you only have to do it for a small portion, but it raises the impact of, oh shit, it's him.
Yeah.
Unlike, it really stings that you knew Byrne was a heavy and that you knew Dennehy was going to be his man on the inside.
Oh, easy.
It stung.
Dennehy stank.
It stank to high heaven. But he couldn't smell it because his nose was full of fucking shitty little mustache hairs.
His nose was clogged with grey hairs. Okay, this is my biggest dislike.
Yep.
Ethan Hawke's character, quite frankly, should have been called Martin Riggs. That's what he was. He was basically Martin Riggs. He was slightly psychotic. He had problems with, now he had some PTSD issues or whatever from what had happened. He was drinking. He was taking drugs.
Yeah.
He was Martin Riggs.
Yeah, so here's where... Why couldn't... in this particular movie where the idea is pretty strong, why couldn't we just have a John McClane? Who wakes up and very quickly we find out, he doesn't have a missus, he's a bit of a scumbag in some senses.
Why couldn't we have a Joe Hellenbeck?
Exactly. Why couldn't he have woken up and brushed 42 cans off his bed and gone, oh shit, I'm late for work? We get what we need there.
You know what? We didn't even need that because we could have slowly evolved the character a little bit during the battle.
Yeah.
Using Maria Bello and giving her more.
Yeah.
Right? What we got was the cliched cop who's a good cop but struggling with the major issues.
His partners in the, you know.
That stuff is crap. It's not necessary in this case because the kill, what they were trying to do is use it as he doesn't make sound decisions.
Yeah.
But that's bullshit. They were outnumbered. What does it matter?
Yeah.
Sound decision making was last thing on the menu.
Yeah, that's
First
right.
decision, shave your mustache.
Yeah.
There he goes. You take the back door. You take the front. You to the shower.
Shave your mustache.
Shave that shit off. You look like an idiot.
Yeah, that's sound decision making.
But the problem was, you just needed an everyman.
Yeah.
An everyman cop who...
I guess that's what I was talking about when I said maybe did they overcomplicate it?
Yeah.
Because I looked at that and thought the same sort of thing. I thought, did they really need it? Like, I thought Ethan Hawke played those parts pretty well, but I just didn't think it needed it, really.
I didn't think so, at all. Because why does he have to be racked with problems? To me, the big issue he's got is, do I let Bishop go or not? Like, I've got to keep an eye on this prick. He's a bad guy, but yet have got a grudging respect for each other now.
Yeah.
Will I kill him if I have to? You know, like if he turns on us, you know, like those questions.
That's the only sort of stuff. That's where, I agree. That's where the drama comes from. I never once thought in this situation,
is he going to grab a bottle of Jack?
Is Ethan Hawke going to make the right call here? I'm like, no, that's not what.
And they have that whole scene where he's got the matchbook with all the pills in it.
Yeah.
And he tips them out.
Yeah.
I couldn't have given a toss.
No.
Like that meant nothing to me because to me, him and Fishburne, that simmering tension and that whole idea that they kind of covered each other's ass.
Yeah.
And they were getting along, but Fishburne kept saying, don't expect me to change my ways, mate.
Yeah, yeah.
So the moment chance I get, I'm going.
Yeah, I was fine with that being a major kind of conflict as well.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of big gripes again. So I get that this precinct is closing down and that it's not in it's in a bit of a kind of rundown part of town. But how far away are we from other people? Because there's a full-scale firefight going on that they expect is not going to arouse any suspicion from anybody.
Yeah, and they don't even use the old classic cliche of, don't worry, fellas, we're on the ground, we'll take care of it. You know, the police officers who are the bad guys just radio in and say, we're on scene, we will handle. Firefight down here.
There's nothing.
They could have just easily wiped that out with one scene.
They just... I
mean, they're trying to use the cover of the blizzard.
But even that doesn't fly for me. I mean, you've seen, you know, around here you used to have that bloke that would fucking go jogging, whether it was, you know, rain, hail, shine, go jogging with his shirt off, and there's always
that bloke is still fucking doing it. He's cut to ribbons. He's about 60.
There's always
ripping it.
There's always some idiot that sees a bloody snowstorm outside and thinks, shit, I'm going to walk the dog. There's always someone.
Yeah. Yeah.
But also, even the people that are holed up in their houses, they can't be that far away.
Yeah.
Like at one point they show a shot from quite far away and you hear you hear the bullets going.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, where the fuck are we here? Like, it's just a desolate bloody wasteland. And not only that, but in the thick of Detroit, we just happen to have a forest on the back of the precinct.
How's that work?
I don't get that. I don't get it.
Yeah, I didn't really get the geography to the whole thing.
So that was a big question mark. The other question mark for me was the plan from the cops. The second one of them dies, how do you explain this away? Even if Bishop gets killed.
No, they're saying, Bishop's men did it. I'm thinking, but one of your guys is dead.
Yeah, one of your guys is dead. What was he doing at Precinct 13? Secondly, surely someone in Bishop's crew knows who they're working with. Oh, yeah, I'm rolling over on
Well, Bishop was going to roll over on
Well,
it.
that's the thing. Bishop was going to roll over, but their thing is, we got to kill Bishop. Then no one will know.
He only happens to have underlings who probably know all
Yeah,
that.
surely someone's got to know. Someone else has got to know. Your plan just falls to shit. That's the thread that you tug on that thread, you fucking sweater.
Christmas sweater goes to shit.
Yeah. I was just looking at it going, the second one of those guys dies, your plan's up the creek, isn't it? And once you've got a pile of your men sprinkled around, precinct,
Pile of corpses.
yeah. Where do you go from there? What do? You rock up on Monday and 17 of your men aren't there anymore.
Listen, I'm going to need a new crew.
Shit, there's the bloody gastro just ran through them. I'm down 17 men today. I don't know where they are. There's going to be a couple of investigations happening here.
Oh, look, Joe's rugged. He's sitting on the toilet currently.
So for me...
But everyone else, I don't know where they are.
It doesn't make sense that once a few men are down, I would have thought Gabriel Byrne would have gone, pack this shit up, we're going to get on a plane to bloody Mexico immediately, because once they find these bodies, we're fucked.
Yeah.
But
to me,
no, we kill Bishop and everything's okay.
My thinking is, you want to do it quietly, you take the bus out, right?
Yeah.
There's no one around.
Yep.
Right? You take the
bus.
bus.
The bus is skidding all over the place.
You've got the bus, you take it out before it gets rerouted to Precinct 13. Secondly, if you get to Precinct 13, you don't turn up in your fucking SVUs out the front so everyone can see you.
Yeah.
You quietly, clandestinely come into the place, get on the roof and work your way in.
Yeah. And there's got to be more...
Thirdly, why is it that you couldn't get in? You couldn't get in because you know these guys know you're out there.
Yeah.
And they're taking you on. You bring in the helicopter and you drop some guys on the roof. What part of this plan is any different to what you just did?
Oh yeah, surely you got to sign out the helicopter, don't you?
Yeah.
Someone's got to.
We're just going for a joyride.
Yeah, someone's got to have a record of where that shit went.
Yeah, and secondly, who's piloting that thing in a snowstorm?
Yeah, there was.
Not me.
I also saw some question marks. I didn't think about this, but I also saw some question marks online about. They had to know that he was going to end, and the Bishop was going to end up in Precinct 13 for Dennehy to be their inside man and all this sort of shit. I didn't have as many troubles. I guess I thought that.
Yeah, but was
Gabriel
Dennehy
Byrne,
actually an inside man, or was he just the guy who he rolled and let him in that
he
night?
was, shit. From the impression I got, he was shady from the get-go. He was. So before they even knew he was. The impression that I got from that is he was just working in that precinct, but he was one of Burns' men. They had tentacles where they needed them. It's like it's like Hydra.
I'll tell you what, mate, Hydra teaches its men to shoot people because, well, quite frankly, the bloody sniper work is terrible.
Okay, but tell me this. Dennehy's your man. He's inside, okay? Could you not get on the blower and say, listen, Bishop's in there.
Just kill him.
Drop a pill in his fucking... Just send him a bottle of water and drop a fucking poison pill in it or something.
Just shoot him.
Because, I mean, there's going to be questions around how he got poisoned, but there's going to be less questions than how 15 men died at Precinct 13.
There's no reason to take a helicopter out to do it. I can tell you that now.
Yeah.
Secondly...
There's got to be easier ways.
Gabriel Byrne needed to get on the horn to him and go, Dennehy, just bring it down a notch or two, mate. You're creating havoc in there.
Look, we need Bishop poison. And for God's sake, shave that mustache.
I told you earlier in the week that was not to be part of it.
You're arousing far too much suspicion. You look untrustworthy.
Yeah. I've seen you through the sniper rifles and I don't trust you. Yeah, to me, the plan and how these so-called specialist cops go about it is just shit. It's terrible.
It works on the level of, when you're talking about Rio Bravo and you hold up in the sheriff's office in the Wild West.
Yeah.
Okay, you can understand that the town people get fucking run out of town. There's about 5 people in town. You run them out, you're secluded. There's nowhere to go.
Yeah.
I get that, but in this scenario, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work that there's no one there that you can you can send in a full-scale fucking SWAT operation, not get the job done against a skeleton crew in a precinct that he's closing down.
That includes several civilians who
That
have
includes
no
an inside
police
man
training.
as well.
It does. That includes an inside man. You still can't get that
You
job
still
done.
can't get the job done, and I just don't understand how there wasn't an easy way to get it done.
The thing was, this is why I don't believe he was their inside man. He just sort of rolled while he was in there. Is because at one point he was looking after the front door by himself.
Yeah, but he left the front door.
He left
Remember
it, but
that?
he could have just opened the door and said, "Fellas."
But he kind of did.
Come on
He just
in.
left the front door so that.
But they came in through the they came in through the cell.
Well, this is Burns' fault. He didn't fucking. He was doing what he could, but the boss was making. We're worried about Ethan Hawke's decision making. Obviously, Gabriel Burns in the same program that he was.
He's blowing up. We haven't communicated properly.
So I just got the sense that it's Dennehy was on the roll the whole time because he knew him when he came out. He knew him.
Yeah. That was the gist I got.
So
but then again, who would know that?
Who would know? You look untrustworthy enough to be in my crew. I just think,
Dennehy was funny. Dennehy was going off so fucking hard. No, you wouldn't know whether he knew the bloke or not, or he was just a bloody loon.
I just think, it just doesn't pass. Once you start thinking a little bit about it, there's just too much to cop.
I mean, the filmmakers assumed you wouldn't.
They assume normally that would be a sound assumption on their part when you look at it, the average moviegoer like myself.
I mean, I haven't put two and two together in a film for about 10 years. And then I watched this and I was just like, what the hell is this? I started doing some subs.
A little bit of mental gymnastics going on here.
And I found, this doesn't make any sense.
Well, when it's mental gymnastics for me, it's the bloke that runs into the fucking pommel horse.
Rick Disney.
That's it, Rick Disney.
I mean, usually my mind is like a little hamster in a wheel, but then suddenly I sprang to life as I was watching this. I started going, this makes no sense
It
whatsoever.
springs to life for a second, and then the fucking hamster falls off the wheel again.
Yeah, I go, this doesn't make any sense. What was I talking about again?
Yeah, this is coming apart. Oh, look at Dennehy's mustache. Ridiculous.
But Jared, do you know how you paper over those mistakes in a good action film? You blow something up, and I immediately go, "Ooh, have a look at that!" And then immediately, what was I talking about again?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, filmmakers have been getting away with that for me for years.
Yeah, I'm sitting here going, did they overcomplicate it? That's me saying they needed to fucking dumb it down for idiots like me, because you've made me think about it and I've just got myself all tied up in knots. Rick Disney's money to the pommel horse. My system's shutting down.
Repeatedly, just Rick Disney running. I mean, I came out of there going, scratching my head, going, what's going on? Yeah. Look, it got too complicated. Yeah, which is weird to say for it because it shouldn't be. And the planning is just shit. Like, it's got too many questions to be asked.
Far too many questions to be asked.
So, once you ask all those questions, you realise you didn't get anything out of it.
Yeah. It's just very, like, you look at that sort of stuff and it undoes the good acting, the fun dialogue, and at the end of it, it's just, like I said, it's just forgettable. Yeah. No one's really all that memorable.
I turned it off and immediately basically forgot what it was about. Thank God I took notes.
Oh, well, mate, it was a fucking assault on my bloody senses trying to just watch the bloody movie. It tells you about the arduous fucking process I had to actually watch it. I'm sitting there going, I've got 3 streaming services. It's got to be on one of them. Nah, not on that. Oh, I better log into Mum and Dad's Foxtel account and check it. Is it on Foxtel? Wasn't on that.
PSN?
And then I sent you a quick message going, oh, bloody, Apple's charging $5 instead of Def. But bugger this, I'm going to Google. Went through the hiring process on Google. the fucking thing just wouldn't work. I kept getting it. I'd press play, and then the thing would just say null on my screen. Maybe that was my brain again. Switching off.
Your brain was mucked by the time it started.
I ended up having to get a refund. I'm going through the process and saying, it can be quite difficult to get a refund. And I'm sitting there going, I've bagged Apple. And then I've sent a message to you bagging Apple on a fucking Apple device. These bastards have read it and then turned off my bloody Google Play app, which I was trying to watch on an Apple device.
What about PSN? Was it on PSN?
No, I didn't go to PSN. I went straight back to Apple after that. The evil overlords, I bowed at the altar and said, forgive me.
They provided you with the standard def copy.
They provided me with the standard def. No. It was $5 for standard def or high def. So once I had to cop the fucking $5.
Did you go the high def?
I went the high def. Yeah.
I, for some reason, had it on DVD, which surprised me greatly.
Just a fan of bad mustaches.
Yeah, that was probably what pulled me in. Okay, that was Assault on Precinct 13, our New Year's Eve episode. You can find us on Podomatic, iTunes, and Spotify. Send us an email at thrillme@iinet.net.au. We're at Facebook, on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia, at Podomatic at thrillme.podomatic.com, and on Instagram at thrillmepodcastau. Our next episode, keep an eye on our Facebook page, and we will let people know what we're going to cover as our first episode of 2019. But until then, take it easy, and we'll catch up with everyone later. Cheers.
Find the podcast at Podomatic or on iTunes. Don't forget to rate and review. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia, or contact us at thrillme, all one word, all lowercase, at iinet.net.au.